Hello, and welcome to part one of probably 3 parts about making this CRX not so hot. This CRX is Type R swapped with a big turbo, and it gets hot. It makes a lot of heat. A lot of heat is happening in this general area. We have the Skunk 2 half-size radiator. We have a SPAL, S-P-A-L fan. It's not the biggest one or the highest CFM one they make by a long shot, but it's the biggest one I could fit in here. So I have a couple ideas on how to make this less hot. But basically, if it is hot out and I'm idling too long, this can get 200, 210 or more degrees. And that's just idling. But I ran an experiment, and I ran it with the hood up, and it didn't get hot. It could idle indefinitely. So I know I have cooling happening, but I'm just got too much heat trapped under here. So we have 3 ways we're going to try to cool this down. Step 1, and of course we have to be able to cool it down way more than just idling because we want to drive this on the track. So the first modification we'll do, which is a pretty dramatic one, is hood vents or louvers. This is from Speed Circuit Design by Justin Goodell. These vents are going to go right there and let that hot air out. So the vents will be right on top of where that turbo is and be releasing a lot of air. This is made out of 53 aluminum. It is raw aluminum, so first we're going to prime and paint this, and then we have to do the terrifying task of cutting a hole in the hood of this beautiful car. And then we'll see how much that helps. Now, I said that this is part 1 of 3 parts. So the other thing we're going to do to try to make this car run cooler is I have this Evil Energy oil cooler kit. Evil Energy sent this to me for free to try out and review. So we'll do that in another video. And then the third thing is I have this EFB Motorsports 3D printed headlight, which goes here and lets more air in, and you can direct this to your turbo or whatever you want to cool. In our case, it'll probably be the turbo intake. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit it with 320, then we'll prime it, then we'll hit it with 600, then we'll paint it. This is 39143 SEM trim black. That's the satin one. Good. Oh, I should have worn gloves because I got fingerprints all over this. But so now I'm going to get it all off with rubbing alcohol. I have to clean off the dust anyways. Now this primer says to sand with 320 and then 600 afterwards. And it says 2 light coats and then 1 medium wet coat. So that's what we're going to do. Alright, we're getting pretty high tech now. The vents are painted and cured and dry. And what we have here is a laser level on a tripod, and I'm projecting a line onto the hood to find the exact center line so that I don't put a big stupid hole in the car in the wrong place. So we're using the Honda emblem as a reference, and we're using the center bolt on the cowl as a reference. And it looks like right now, yep, that line goes right to the top of it. And then we have a straight line down the middle. That will give us our horizontal. And then for the vertical, we're going to decide by looking at the bottom of the hood, the underside, and looking at the support, because we want to not cut out the thick supports if we can avoid it and focus on the little supports. But first, let's mark that center line with tape so I don't have to worry about bumping this, and I can move that out of my way. The vents have centered bolt holes, so as long as those holes go, well, this is upside down, they go that way, they'll line up. The gap on the vents is 13 inches. So if we leave this main part here and here, so we keep this support and most of this support, we'll have to cut a little bit here. But I need to, I guess, drill a hole to mark the edge. I tried to do it with magnets, but in order to have a magnet strong enough, it had to be a big one, and then I couldn't really tell where it was. So we're going to drill a hole. Did not enjoy that. So I have done all the measuring I can with the laser to get this out, to get these straight and perpendicular. And then I've measured, just double checking the distances to these corners and the distance from here to here and here to here. Every reference point I have. So I can no longer delay the inevitable. I have to actually cut it. Oh, that didn't come out too bad. This doesn't actually sit down in it yet, and I kind of expected that because I was erring on the side of caution with my line, so it's a little too small. So I'm going to mark where these fins are hitting, and I'm going to smooth them out with a flap disc. That one doesn't, that one doesn't. Obviously they don't on the inside. So I marked here, 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 and here. All right, I'm going to use Milwaukee M12 angle grinder with a flap disc to bring those corners in just a little bit. Let's get all this off of here. This is cut. I got a little rough there on accident, but it will be covered by the flange. So, I also need to paint these edges because it's all just bare metal right now and make it not look like absolute crap. Again, I'm going to use this to make the edges less sharp, then I'm going to mask and paint. I'm scuffing once again with 600. This is not an OEM hood. This is an aftermarket hood, which as far as I know is shaped exactly the same if you were going to follow along on an OEM hood, but I don't actually know that. So we are painting this edge with SEM trim paint for two reasons. Because we don't want any exposed metal that'll just rust later, and we don't want to see through the vent and then see this color again because that'll be confusing. So we're just going to mask it off so it looks like it's part of the vent. We're going to start really light, like that, and let that dry. So now I've flipped it over and I've relocated my paper to this side, where I will do a light coat and a medium coat and then another medium coat. And then I'll remove all this tape and see what I did. The black frame does look a little funny right now, but I think it will not look funny once the grill is in it. So I had the vent on here and I measured and got the lasers out and I marked little dents in the paint with a pick of where all the holes need to go. So now, and I did dent it so I can feel it through this tape. The tape is just there so I don't wander around with the drill bit. 6mm holes drilled, and it's kind of scary. Gotta trust the process. So Speed Circuit Design website recommends M5 bolts here, or screws or rivets. I don't recommend them because this hole is exactly 5mm, so then you're gonna have to thread it in and you're gonna tear up your paint, and it will make it more difficult to line up exactly with your holes below. So I am using M4 screws. So I gotta put the backs on all these, and then we'll see how it looks. This is now fully bolted in place. Because this is spray paint and not powder coated, I held these in place with a hex key and bolted on from the back. And then on the back, because of the varying thicknesses of material I had to go through, the bolts are not all the same size. So I used this assortment. But what's wrong with this assortment? Those are not stainless steel. So this is for fitment. Now that I know the exact sizes I need because I wrote them all down, I'll order titanium screws, but this will work, you know, for now until those arrive. Moment of truth. By the way, if you don't have gas shocks, you gotta get them. All right, closes. You can absolutely see my red valve cover all through that. Those fins narrowly avoid the K-series coil packs. You can see the turbo is right there. That's the culprit. That's the air, the hot air we want to release. I think that is pretty good. Now, style, that's a, you know, subjective. That's a personal choice. But as far as the installation, it's working. Now, it's test drive time. Did it actually make a difference? Today it is 87 degrees, which is, and super sunny, which is exactly when it likes to overheat, run too hot. So let's go find out. Got up to operating temperature pretty quickly, and driving around it doesn't go over 175. The real question is when I'm idling, which I'm doing right now at a red light, 176 right now, super low. I don't even know if the fan is kicked on yet. My intake temps are low too, 102, which I guess makes sense. Less hot air under the hood that I'm sucking in. You can really hear the turbo too. You can always hear it, but it's actually like clear air. That's a side effect I wasn't even considering. Yeah, and the blow-off valve is delightful. I'm up to 180. 181. I think the fans kick on at 180. And it went down to 179, 178, 177. So I want to idle it and watch the fans blow hot air out through the hood too. Sitting here idling in the sun, it's 90 degrees. I can see the fan is going. Air is, of course, freely able to escape out the top. We're chilling at 190. If we stayed there, now 192. Let's see. We're still idling high, but we're idling a lot lower than 220. All right, so I've done some more cruising in the CRX. I've done some idling over several days of different kinds of weather. It definitely helps. It when it's cool out, like 70s, 60 degrees, I can drive around no issues. It actually is below my target of about 185 degrees, perhaps. When it was 90 degrees and I let it idle, it was still getting up to 200 degrees. That's fine. This is not expected to solve everything. Ultimately, we have to cool the coolant too, not just let out hot air. So we have more steps in this cooling process. The next step is going to be air, though. So in the next video, we're going to work on this light that lets air in. So stay tuned for that. Anyways, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.